a grand slam for Masters!
It's time for Blessed to Play on EWTN Radio, uncovering the role that faith plays in the lives of sports professionals from around the country. And now, here's your host, Ron Meyer.
Fire, score! My guest today is Ivan Brethowr. He has quite a career in baseball, but it's starting off with being drafted by the Chicago Cubs in the 2024 draft. He was selected in round 7, the overall pick of 212. So we're getting him early on in his pro baseball career. He'll tell us about his plight to being drafted and his passion for the game that he loves. Ivan, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Ron, thanks for having me.
So you grew up in Olathe, Kansas, if I'm pronouncing that right, and you went to St. Thomas Aquinas High School, and you're not that old, so Little League wasn't too far in the past, but were you a multi-sport guy, or was baseball always the sport that you kind of gravitated to?
Yeah, so definitely growing up, I played all three. I played football, baseball, and basketball. My dad played basketball in high school, and my mom played Division I volleyball at KU, and so it kind of let me try it all. And I definitely gravitated towards baseball, and I definitely enjoyed the other sports, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice time in the off season, in the baseball off season, to go play other sports when I would have rather just been in the cage hitting or working out for that. So I started doing baseball only probably when I was around 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. And that was it. I mean, my mom was always a little worried that I might get burnt out, especially since specialized at such a young age, but no, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm super, super happy with my decision.
Well, as you know now, the mental game of sports is so important, and baseball is paramount with that because it is a game of failure on the offensive side. But talk about just being raised, you mentioned in a competitive athletic family, how that prepared your mindset to do what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're definitely a very competitive family. Definitely when we spend time together, whether it's board games or anything little, playing basketball in the backyard, we're getting into arguments every now and then. But it definitely on the baseball side of things, it's something I've had to learn since my uncle actually played Division I baseball at Kansas State. So there's a little bit, but it's just when you get deep into playing college baseball and now obviously pro baseball, yeah, like being able to overcome adversity at at this level is definitely something that I've had to learn and understand, that changing the perspective of what failure is, mm-hmm. I would say is making sure you learn from it and being okay with it and understanding that every single great has failed. That's how you learn, and that's how you become better at what you do.
Indeed. Blessed to Play Ron Meyer chatting today with Ivan Brethowr. He's newly drafted, a new professional baseball player by the Chicago Cubs in the 7th round. Just had a touch of pro baseball in Myrtle Beach. We'll talk about that. But let's get into your collegiate career, because you're highly touted out of high school, St. Thomas Aquinas, and you decide initially to go to the desert out in Tempe and play for Arizona State. And I know that playing time was maybe problematic and it forced you to transfer out, and you had some good numbers in your brief stint, 16 games at ASU. But just talk about picking Arizona State after being in high school in Kansas.
Yeah, so that was definitely my dream school in high school. I went undrafted. I was definitely a baby coming out of high school. I mean, I look at some guys going into pro ball now, and I got out of high school, and I was not ready for that. So I'm definitely glad I went to the collegiate route. I was definitely a late bloomer, and yeah, I mean, ASU didn't go the way that I wanted, but I understand that God has a plan for me, and so I'm really happy with where I ended up, and super, super grateful for UC Santa Barbara for taking me in and helping me become the player that I am.
Well, let's talk about UC Santa Barbara. It proved to be a big decision for you and a good one at that. And, in 2023, you were an All-Big West first-team selection. And I understand you homered in your Santa Barbara debut against Minnesota on February 17th. And that just started to propel you into a lot of excellence and succeeding at UC Santa Barbara. But talk about the move to UC Santa Barbara and how you fit in with that culture.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely just coming out of high school, being a late bloomer, sort of unestablished. I definitely meant a lot the way that the coaching staff took me in, as Donegal Ferguson at the time and Andrew Checketts were there my sophomore year when I came in, and the way that they saw me as part of the plan and wanted me to develop and prosper as a part of their team. And it gave me so much confidence just coming in, especially from freshman year, just having people who truly believed in me. And obviously when I started to produce at the beginning of the season, that just helped propel me forward and give myself so much more confidence in my abilities, obviously. And yeah.
Well, the people at home don't know how big you are. You're 6'6", say 250, but he's in Arizona now, so it might be down to 245. I'm not really sure.
Hopefully we can get that back up. We're in strength camp right now in Arizona. So
yeah, you could lose weight pretty quick in the desert, especially if you don't hydrate well. But you put up some big numbers on the power side. I mean, even the 2024 season, I think you had 14 home runs. You led all the Big West bats. But I want to just talk about being labeled as a power hitter, because you still have to play within yourself when you're hitting and not get caught up in this, I have to hit it over the fence all the time. How are you adapting to that mindset? I know you got a taste of pro ball, but I'm sure you had to even deal with this at the collegiate level and how to stay within yourself and still use your physical prowess to put up those big power numbers. Yeah.
So, I mean, my whole life, like I said, I was late bloomer. I kind of started to grow into my body, kind of middle to end of my high school career. And so I was always a really good hitter, but in probably Little League growing up, like I was never the biggest on the team. I always was a really good hitter, but I never really had a bunch of power all the time. I was more of just like a doubles guy. And so definitely grateful for that, because I've been able to take it with me. I like to think of myself as a hitter with power rather than a straight power hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Either like a homer or strikeout guy. I take pride in making good decisions at the plate, and I feel like that's kind of what it comes down to at this level. Is like obviously the swing that I take, and obviously my strength is going to impact how many home runs I hit, but just focusing on making good decisions and letting all that take care of the rest is what's most important. So yeah, I definitely want to be a hitter with power versus a power hitter is how I like to say it.
Yeah, very well said. Blessed to play Ron Meyer, chatting once again with Ivan Brethowr in the Cubs organization. He was picked in round 7, and he's off to his pro baseball career. Talk about your collegiate baseball experience and just being in college itself, how it matured you, not only as an athlete, but as a person as well, getting you ready for the next level, that being pro ball.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely really grateful for my decision to go to college. I was not ready for that, like as a person-wise maturity. I'm definitely a little baby coming out of high school. So I think going through that whole college and being able to overcome adversity and obviously transferring schools, it kind of helped me develop my own sense of who I am as a baseball player and yeah, more so who I am as a person as well. Yeah, couldn't be more grateful for how everything played out. I wouldn't have it any other way.
All right, Ivan. Well, let's move along to one of the most special days in your life, and that was being drafted by a Major League Baseball club, because everybody who plays baseball from Little League and progresses through the various levels has that dream of playing at the pro level and then ultimate making it to the show. But let's just talk about that day, all the hard work you put into that moment when the Chicago Cubs announced your name in round 7, and now you're going to be a Cub and start your professional baseball career.
Yeah, could not be more grateful. Overwhelmed. Definitely overwhelming getting the phone call. Obviously, you're preparing for it. There's a lot of talk on when you might go and who's interested in all these things, but actually hearing that and understanding all of the things that have to go right, sort of, and especially coming from where I was, coming out of high school, I just feel extremely blessed, and I understand that. I don't take it for granted, is what I mean.
All right, so now the transition for you is going from playing Division I baseball, a very high level of baseball. You're playing against future, pro players, and now you're in the pros, and you got a little taste of it this summer playing for Myrtle Beach and the Pelicans. So talk about the differences that in your short sample size, or small sample size, I should say, playing pro ball, and the differences coming from the collegiate level.
Yeah, playing every day is no joke. It's awesome. I mean, I love it. In college, it's weekend series. You play midweek. You get three days of practice during the week. And in pro ball, I mean, the thing that I'm, it's great, but it can also be bad if you handle it the wrong way. Is like when you're hot, you can ride that because you're playing every day.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're not playing good, like you wake up, you go to the field, man, you're in the lineup the next day. You gotta figure it out. You gotta, like, that can steamroll one way or another, however you make it. And so being able to make quick adjustments and understand what's happening, understand how pitchers are, how they're pitching you. That's I would say the biggest adjustment for me.
Well, you managed to play in some pretty good spots. When you're at UC Santa Barbara, you were close to the beach, and then you play pro ball at Myrtle, and you're close to the beach again. There's kind of a trend there, Ivan.
Man, I love it. There's nothing beats baseball on the beach. It's definitely been blessed. Arizona State's beautiful. Santa Barbara's beautiful. I think I live like 4 blocks from the beach there. Like, walk to the beach whenever you want. It's wild. And then Myrtle Beach again it's pretty fun. I feel very lucky.
And when you make it to the show and you play for the Chicago Cubs, you're going to be next to another body of water, but that would be Lake Michigan. So we'll hope you make it to Lake Michigan and play at Wrigley at some point. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we're going to talk about the faith life of this professional baseball player. Ivan Brethowr is our guest when Blessed to Play returns right after this.
He is honored by the Church as a saint with the title of the Angelic Doctor.
Matthew Bunson and the Doctors of the Church.
St. Thomas Aquinas wrote a basic textbook for young theology students that became the Church's most famous guide to the faith, the Summa Theologica. It helped him earn the title Doctor of the Church. He died in 1274.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
How many times have you heard it said that the church has been weak and ineffective? G.K. Chesterton says the church has been so powerful and effective that it colored even the things that it had not hoped to influence and changed its enemies as well as its friends. It affects everything it touches. It inspires a life-changing love in its friends and a self-destructive hatred in its enemies. Its enemies will do everything to destroy it, and they end up destroying everything except the church. The Catholic Church, says Chesterton, has endured for 2,000 years, and the world within the church has been more lucid, more level-headed, more reasonable in its hopes, more healthy in its instincts, more humorous and cheerful in the face of fate and death than all the world outside.
Spend more time with the Apostle of Common Sense. Visit chesterton.org for more information.
Welcome back to Blessed to Play. Ron Meyer joined today by Ivan Brethowr. He's part of the Chicago Cubs organization, newly drafted, folks, and starting his professional baseball career. And I just love this. I love the journey and getting someone early on in their pro career like Ivan is, and had an outstanding college career at UC Santa Barbara. And we talked about his talent, didn't we? His baseball talent in the first half of the show, and a very talented man, and using his talents very well. And I think he would say that God is the giver of those talents. You have to work hard. But I know faith, Ivan, is part of your life. You grew up as a Catholic. Your family raised you in the faith. But just talk about your faith life, how you were raised, and why it's so meaningful to you in your everyday life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Born and raised Catholic. My whole family is Catholic. I was fortunate enough to grow up going to Catholic schools all the way through grade school, middle school, high school. And so I've been able to have that growing up. And as I've kind of gone away from high school and into college, and I've matured, it's been really special to sort of develop my own understanding of the Catholic faith. I think that sometimes when you grow up a certain way, definitely as a kid, like you believe it because your family believes. You trust in the Lord because your family trusts in the Lord, and then understanding all that He does for us, and really diving into Scripture and understanding all of that growing up has definitely been really special.
Yeah, very well said. And let's talk about identity. I think it's a great topic to talk about with people who are very talented on the athletic side, because there's going to be so much thrown at you, and it has been already, but people are just going to look up to you for your talents, and you're going to talk about your talents all the time. And when you're not going good, or when you're going good, you're still the same person. You're still Ivan, and you're still ultimately a child of God. But just talk about identity, how you stay grounded in who you are as a person with the ups and downs that come with playing sports.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to think of myself as a messenger. I mean, I think that God, to be honest, I think God has given me certain gifts for a reason. I've never been able to see myself doing anything else in my life. And I think it's when I use the gifts that He's given me, I ultimately end up with a platform to share His word with others. And I look at that as a responsibility for me. It's not about me. This is about me using my gifts as a messenger to spread the word and introduce people to Jesus Christ.
And part of your formation, we talked about your parents forming you, but then you went to a Catholic high school. Talk about your time spent at St. Thomas and, interacting with your other classmates and the faith perspective that you learned there in high school as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, religion classes, going to mass obviously on the weekends, but you have mass during the week too. Yeah, it's really special. It's really special to have all of those resources. For me to have had those resources growing up, and I can always go back to all of that. I feel very, very blessed to have that sort of base understanding of that growing up. So now, obviously, I can venture deeper into that, and it just gives me more of just helps me a lot more being able to obviously support my faith, defend my faith, and being able to share it with the world with the platform I've been given.
Blessed to play Ron Meyer chatting today with Ivan Brethowr. He's he's in the Cubs organization. He's going to get to Chicago, but he's in the Cubs organization, newly drafted and living the dream, as they say. Ivan, I want to talk about your teammates and just being part of, in pro ball, you're going to be playing with people from all over the world, right? It becomes an international sport, and people are going to come from all different faith backgrounds. And just talk about the faith environment within the pro context, or just meeting different people with other faith dispositions. How has that experience been for you?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a culture shock for a lot of guys coming into a pro clubhouse with so many guys, so many ethnicities, so many beliefs, so many personalities. But yeah, I mean, there are definitely bunch of other Christians, and we do chapel all the time. And but I think it's most important you're obviously encountering lots of different types of people. It's just to try to treat others with love and respect, and how others want to be treated. I mean, the thing I always ask myself is, well, what would Jesus do? Mm-hmm. Like, I think a lot of people maybe would look down on certain people for being brought up a certain way. I just want to treat everyone with love and respect. And yeah, they say they'll know we are Christians by our love.
Yeah, very well said. That is the highest form of showing who you are rather than becoming preachy, but the way you live your life. And speaking of that, young people listening to this show, they look up to athletes, professional athletes, and you're saying you have a faith life, but you're also pursuing competitive excellence. Talk about how faith enables you to be more competitive or more striving for excellence within yourself. Has that been a way of you using faith to be more competitive and striving for excellence?
Absolutely. I think that I rely on trusting in God's plan for me, especially with the adversity that I face. My path here hasn't been straight by any means, and I mean I would not be here if I did not truly trust in God's plan for me, that things happen for a reason, and that He puts certain people in my life for a reason. He puts me in certain places for a reason. He opens and closes doors the way He does for a reason. And so if I truly didn't believe that, I don't believe I would be here. I think that everything that I've been given and blessed with is because of Him. And I want to live to honor that.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you spiritually nourish yourself? Well, as an athlete, you have to prepare to go on the field. You mentioned you're going to be in strength camp. Before the game, you have to stretch out. You take BP. You're in the field taking ground balls, or in the outfield in your case. But how do you prepare yourself spiritually each and every day?
Just creating a routine, honestly. Prayer every morning and night, and just talking to God, but also listening. I think obviously diving into Scripture has been really helpful for me, especially recently. Understanding that He's speaking to us always, and it's up to us to listen. I think sometimes we can forget that He is truly walking and holding our hand all the time. And I think that you feel alone. You feel alone when you forget that He's always there for you.
All right, so let's talk about growing up in Kansas here. I don't know if you were a Royal fan. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say you probably followed the Royals to a little bit.
I definitely was growing up.
So who were those players that you looked up to just as a kid, or even in high school? You're still a kid, but those players that you looked up to and kind of, I want to be that player when I get to the big leagues.
Yeah. So Royals. I'll give you Royals, and then I'll give you some others. Definitely that 2015 World Series run was something special. We went to the parade and everything. It was a blast. But like Eric Hosmer, obviously Salvador Perez, Mike Moustakas. I remember Ben Zobrist coming in at the trade deadline and helping that team. Yeah, so all those guys, and then obviously the guy who I've looked up to most ever since he came into the league was Aaron Judge, because of obviously size comparisons and things like that. But
yeah, that was quite a team, a small market team that wins the World Series. I mean, that's great. I love those stories, obviously, because of that component to it. So you, when you want to become the player that you are and learn what your, I guess, strengths and weaknesses are, how do you come to that moment, or do you rely on coaches for information, or do you do a lot of self-reflection? How do you become an evolving ball player, the best ball player that you could be?
Just understanding that no one's identical to you, and I feel like just going through experiences and learning how I deal with certain situations and understanding the type of person I am mentally and psychologically, I think has helped me a lot. I think obviously I'm still growing with that, but just growing up, I feel like I have so much better of an understanding of who I am, like how I work best. Obviously in the game of baseball, like physically wise, I understand that a lot better. But I think just playing the game, having an open mind, listening to others. Obviously it's really nice to have outside perspectives when people see you as a person, or obviously maybe talking to my dad, obviously he knows me probably better than anyone. Watched me grow up over the years, obviously listens to me talk about the game and how I take certain things, and hearing other perspectives and being open to it and understanding. Yeah. Ultimately putting that all together to get a better understanding of who I am.
All right, we have a couple of minutes left, but I have to ask you, when you want to get away from baseball and just kind of chill, what are some of those activities or the things that you like to do?
So I'm definitely a nerd. I love big Harry Potter guy, big Pokemon guy, Star Wars, all that. I love music. I started picking up the guitar a few years ago, so I've been dabbling in that. So, play video games with my buddies all the time. Not too interesting of a guy. I'd say I'm pretty basic, but I like to dabble in those things.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, Ivan Brethowr has been our guest. What a talent, folks. Drafted by the Chicago Cubs. He's in their organization, and I'm sure he's going to do well for them and move up the progressions of professional baseball. But we also got to know a different side of Ivan, and that is his life of faith, his perspective, and who he turns for guidance in his everyday life. Ivan, thanks so much. I do appreciate you sharing your journey in baseball and your journey in life. And thank you for being part of Blessed to Play.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Blessed to Play fans, check us out on the web at blessedtoplay.com. That's blessed2play.com. You can like us on Facebook. Hit us up on the platform X at Blessed to Play. For Ivan Brethowr, I'm Ron Meyer. Thanks so much for joining us right here on Blessed to Play.
You've been listening to Blessed to Play with host Ron Meyer on the EWTN Global Catholic Network. If you have a question or comment about today's show, feel free to email us at info@blessedtoplay.com. That's blessed, 2, play.com. You can also connect with the show on the web at www.blessedtoplay.com. Again, that's blessed, 2, play.com. Join us again next time for Blessed to Play on the EWTN Global Catholic Network.